And there was my 50th birthday, and so I think there were some really cool pictures there of, we had a great time. Thanks so much for so many of you coming out and hanging out with us. That was a blast, just celebrating me being old. So that was good. But then also we had our oldest, Zechariah. He actually graduated from the University of Florida. Isn't that cool? I love it. Yeah, way to go, way to go. And then our amazing Grace, she had a dance recital and showed off all of her dancing skills. So love it when Grace did an awesome job. And then our Noah, he graduated from Nice High School. So I love it. I love it. Oh, man, so much going on. And plus, in the middle of all that, we had a wedding at our house. Sweet story, Joseph and Deja came to Christ Church, Fleming Island, giving themselves to God and to faith in Christ and baptism, becoming members of the church, going to Starting Point, getting into a neighborhood group near them in Green Cove Springs, and serving in their church. Joseph working with the tech, and Deja working with the first impressions, and they're just kind of giving themselves to all kinds of just the glorious new things of God in their lives. And so when I asked them if they had ever wanted to pursue that glorious thing of God called marriage, a giddy gleam in both their eyes told me that it was their heart's desire. But as is often the case, schedules and expectations and finances and logistics had always seemed to be obstacles in getting it done, roadblocks along the way. And so I told them, hey, weddings don't have to be so expensive. They don't have to be so complicated. They don't have to be this big show. And sure enough, they and the church family too rallied. We equipped them for marriage through some of our church equipping classes, and we set the day. We picked a backyard for free. It just happened to be my backyard. And I said, invite a few people, family and friends over. And a few came. Almost 70 people. If you weren't invited, it wasn't because they didn't want you there. It's because I said, you got to stop. And friends, family, fixing her hair, dressing them up, taking pictures. We had a wedding in our backyard. We heard some beautiful vows from them to each other, talking about God and each other and their marriage. And their church mentors and friends, Greg and Cam, they had made food. They brought it, you know. Their neighborhood group came with a wedding cake that they all pitched in for, and all of us just celebrated their love and God's love and loving on each other. And God was there too, taking it all in. And he was honored, not by some extravagant exterior show, some costly expense of thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. No, he was just honored by the love and the commitment of his people gathering together, and especially these two imperfect people who'd been learning to chase after the perfect heart of God, his perfect ways, together forever. And this series that we're launching into today is about that kind of life. The life of David, an imperfect person for sure, but who chased after God's heart, his perfect heart. Paul said in Acts 13:22, he said, after removing Saul as their king, over Israel, God made an executive decision. He made David their king. God said to Samuel, said, I have looked and I have looked around and I have found David, son of Jesse, a man after my own heart. That was what I was looking for, and that's what I found. He will do everything that I want him to do. He's in it with his whole heart, not half heart. Right? You see, we have a God who looks, and when God looks, he's looking for heart. Heart for his heart. In fact, 2 Chronicles 16:9 says, for the eyes of the Lord range throughout the earth to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed to him. God looks into the heart and he's looking for heart. God had always been the ruler of his people. It was a theocracy. But when his people, they just started looking around at the other nations around them and what are all the cool people doing, right? And they wanted a king like everybody else. They wanted to become a monarchy. And even though God knew that it was not for their best, he obliged, gentleman that he is, and he chose somebody that he thought, oh, they'll be into. The tall, dark, and handsome Saul. But for as much as Saul looked the part, God became unimpressed with the look of his heart. And after Saul was half-hearted to God one too many times, Israel's prophet Samuel finally had to say to Saul, the man that he had helped to anoint into this place, Saul, you have not kept the command the Lord your God gave to you. If you had, he would have established your kingdom over Israel for all time. But you didn't. And now your kingdom will not endure. Instead, the Lord has sought out. He's looking for a man after his own heart and appointed him ruler of his people. See, the Bible tells us that God's eyes range throughout the earth, and he's looking for hearts that are fully committed to him. Hearts who run after his heart. So as we follow David's story, and we're going to start here today in 1 Samuel 16, let's watch out for what God is looking for when God looks. And in the first part of this story, I want you to pick up on this, that when God looks, God is not looking to disappoint, he's looking to anoint. Anoint just means to bless, to set apart. And so let's look into 1 Samuel 16, 1 through 5 to kind of see if you see what I'm talking about here. The Lord said to Samuel, the prophet of Israel, look, how long will you mourn for Saul, since I have rejected him as king over Israel? That's all you're focusing on, Samuel. I'm already past that. I'm focusing on something else. Fill your horn with oil and be on your way, because I'm sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem, because I have chosen one of his sons to be king. But Samuel said, how can I go? Saul will hear about it. He'll kill me. And I like the Lord here. He says, okay, we'll kind of keep it on the down low a little bit. The Lord said, take a heifer with you, only in the Bible, right? Take a heifer with you. Whenever else are you ever going to use? Just take a heifer with you. Take a heifer with you and say to the village, I've come to just make a sacrifice to the Lord. That's all we're doing here. Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I'll show you what to do once you're there. You're going to anoint for me, not for everybody else, for me, the one I indicate. You're going to bless one. Samuel did what the Lord said. And when he arrived at Bethlehem, the elders of the town trembled. They were so scared, like the way the mindset has been ever since ancient times, right? God, oh, he's mad at us. And so they're trembling, and they ask, oh, man of God, do you come in peace? And Samuel replied, yes, I'm coming in peace. I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Hey, everybody, consecrate yourselves. Come on to the sacrifice with me. And then he consecrated Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice. So God is looking past half-hearted Saul. He's already focusing on someone who will be wholehearted for him. But I want you to notice when Samuel gets to looking at God looking, all he can focus on is God's disappointment. God's disappointment in him, right? But also his disappointment in his boy Saul. But in reality, when we read that there, when God looks, he's focused on Samuel's appointment to a new thing. He's focused on David's anointment, not the disappointment. You see that? And you notice it again there too, because when Samuel gets to Bethlehem, the people look at the situation, all they can focus on is, oh, what's the man of God doing here? God, that big scary God, he must be disappointed in us. When really, God and Samuel had come to town just looking to anoint one of them, bless one of them. See what I'm talking about here? When God and his Spirit and his Word is looking around in the world, right? And he's looking around into your life and your lifestyle. He's butting his nose into your relationships. He's getting in there, wants to be involved in your dating life of all things. I mean, he has things to say about your marriage. Oh, he wants to get involved with your workplace and your beliefs and speech we just came off this series where how dare that God would want to get in there and maybe even mess around with your wealth. And you see what I'm talking about here? But look, when God wants to get involved in your life, it's not because he's trying to be a buzzkill to your life. He's not trying to be a downer to your dating or railroad your relationships. He's not mad at your marriage, trying to wash out your wealth, squelch your speech, point out problems, or focus on your failures. He's looking into your life to anoint your life, to better your life, to guide and help and direct and bless your life into the best life. So stop having the default of seeing God as the giant Eeyore in the sky, there to disappoint you or because he's just disappointed in you. Instead, see God as wanting to be personally involved in your life because he wants to protect your life. He wants to provide for your life. He wants to appoint you for better purposes. He wants to bless and anoint you for your best. He's not wanting to catch you and punish you in your worst. I don't know, does that help any of you? I know that helps me because my knee-jerk response is usually to either get mad at God or think that God is mad at me. Look, when God is personally looking into your life, he's kind of meddling in your stuff, why you believe that he's there, getting personally involved, that's foundational. If you believe that he's there to disappoint you or because he's disappointed by you, then you are defeated from the start. But if you will believe that he's there to anoint you, to bless you, to guide you, to help you, victory is already yours. Everything else that happens, the good especially, is just gravy on top.